This week,
students and faculty receive free COVID-19 tests.
A math teacher receives a grant from Cox Communications.
Show choir kicks off its season.
And the book club wraps up its book drive, all here on the MWHS Wildcat News. Welcome back, Wildcats. I'm Jenna Reynolds.
And I'm Edison Geiler. Our first story this week concerns COVID-19. Test Nebraska continued their visits to different schools around the state when they stopped at Millard West on January 29th and February 2nd. From 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., students and faculty could visit the lecture hall to receive free COVID-19 tests. I have more information at the scene. Both this week and last week, an assortment of medical devices lined the tables of the lecture hall. Though this equipment may look complicated or dangerous, it's essential for ensuring the health of students and faculty at Millard West during the COVID-19 pandemic, especially with the rising number of COVID cases in the Millard district since the start of school. Test Nebraska visited Millard West on Friday, January 29th and Tuesday, February 2nd to administer free COVID-19 tests during the morning. The 80 students and teachers who received tests first signed up online or when they walked into the lecture hall, each needing to fill out this, a consent form detailing past COVID-19 exposures and contact information for the results of a test. Unlike Test Nebraska's site at Oakview Mall, the three nurses present gave PCR mid-terminate tests instead of nasopharyngeal tests.
So we're not doing a nasopharyngeal for this public school system. We're actually doing a mid-turbinate, which is not as far back. We didn't want to do a nasopharyngeal because it's a little bit easier for us to administer, and it's more comfortable for faculty and students.
As a part of its effort to stop the spread of the virus across Nebraska schools, the State Department of Education and county health departments partnered with Test Nebraska to tour as many public schools in the state as possible, dividing Nebraska into 6 different regions for nurse teams to visit.
The Douglas County Health Department had reached out as any schools interested in this free service that we could provide, and we said definitely, because if there's any family that has any concern over symptoms or anything like that, they can come in and get a test and we can make our school safer.
Some students and teachers are also feeling a sense of responsibility to contribute to the healthiness of their community, which led to their decision to receive tests during either day.
I like to do my part to make sure, we're stopping the virus, flattening the curve. If I have COVID, I want to know so that I'm not infecting other people. Even if you don't know if you've been exposed or not, you could still be infecting other people. And I think it's just part of your civil duty to come in and make sure you're protecting other people's safety.
Before recipients left the lecture hall after their test was completed, the nurses explained to them what to expect from their tests, positive or negative, when they will receive the test, and what to do if the test does turn out positive.
If it's a student, the parents will notify the school that their student is positive, and if it's a faculty, they would notify the school that they've tested positive. That way the school takes additional measures.
Though the new United Kingdom strand of the virus poses new challenges for testing and vaccine distribution, efforts like these have contributed to the falling COVID cases in Nebraska since early December. It remains yet to be determined how many of the tested students and faculty were positive, but Millard West is taking steps to ensure any positive cases do not spread. For the MWHS Wildcat News, this has been Edison Geiler and Caden Roth. And in athletics this week, senior athletes participated in another round of letter of intent signing Wednesday morning starting at 7:30. A variety of athletes from different sports declared which college they will play for, and since Wednesday was National Signing Day, this was the first time students could officially sign a binding letter of intent.
The bowling team also competed in districts this week. The girls team earned runner-up honors with 3 state qualifiers, and the boys team also earned runner-up honors. Switching over to swimming, make sure to check into our Staff Strive live stream of Metro Swimming next Friday and Saturday. And finally, students are now able to purchase tickets for away games for basketball. Make sure to get your tickets for upcoming games and support your fellow Wildcats.
Last year, Math Department head Megan Smith applied for a Cox Communications grant, which was recently awarded. The grant provides for Calculus 3 differential equations classes with an online program called MAPLE, designed to improve students' understanding of the equations and theories they are working on. Here's Annabelle Harshbarger and Caden Roth with the story.
To get ahead and better prepare students for their futures, it's important to nurture and encourage their learning. This, of course, is made easier with the help of technology that can bring students to levels previously unattainable. Millard West Math Department Head Megan Smith has been awarded a Cox Communication Grant, which she's spent to better enhance her classes.
Dr. Tiemann sent an email last February stating that Cox was working with teachers to provide these grants for different, I believe it was technology pieces related to education. And so I've been looking at different ways to try to get this software for my class, and I thought that would be a perfect opportunity.
The math software she purchased is called Maple and is used in her Calculus 3 and differential equations classes. This will greatly improve the understanding students gain from not only the math, but the theories behind their work.
Well, I think it's going to allow us to do more complicated math problems and equations that we're able to do with just a calculator, because instead of having us do the bulk of the work, we'll be able to focus on the theory behind it and have the computer do the work.
When taking these higher level math classes, using computer mathematics software is expected. This new software will allow students the opportunity to better experience what a college level math course will be like, and help prepare them for college math classes where professors will expect an understanding for these types of programs.
It'll give them an extra leg up before they go to college. If you take one of these classes, Calc 3 or differential equations in college, it's typically expected that you have a software piece along with that. So the kids are having an opportunity now to experience that at the high school when they take the class here.
Although COVID-19 has delayed the process, the class has begun using the software and spent class time learning the mechanisms of the program. Assistant Principal Mr. Hawkins, the Millard District, and the building's technology facilitators were key components in helping Smith get the software and to set it up.
She was awarded this grant because she applied, obviously, but she is very passionate about providing the best opportunities for her students possible, and she brought that forward, and they recognized that, and they gave her the grant.
Smith students can expect to greatly benefit from this new tool, which wouldn't have been possible without her initiative and drive to better the quality of education they are receiving, and the opportunity to be better equipped for their futures. This has been Caden Roth
And Annabelle Harshbarger
reporting for the MWHS Wildcat News.
Coming from the performing arts this week, the theater department is knee-deep in its preparations for its third clown show.
A silent sketch comedy show revolving around an assortment of clowns grappling with the pandemic, this third iteration of the show is preceded by two others, the most recent of which took place during the 2006 to 2007 school year. The department will perform for 2 nights on February 25th and 26th at 7 p.m. The department also encourages students to fill up its student section, and the theme for this show will be a red and white out. Make sure to watch the performance and support theater.
Also in the performing arts, each of the 3 show choirs, Scats, Uptown, and Wig, kicked off their season with their premiere show on January 23rd. However, this year was a little different. Due to the pandemic, instead of having an audience, the groups recorded their shows to share with family members and friends at home. Here's Maddie Christensen with more details.
On Saturday, January 23rd, the Millard West Show Choirs kicked off their season with a premiere performance, although this year looks very different because of the ongoing pandemic. Instead of having a premiere night with families and friends in attendance, they performed in an empty auditorium and professionally filmed it for families to watch in the comfort and safety of their own homes.
What's different this year is we are not allowed to do any in-person competitions. I know that there's a question of doing a virtual competition where we'll all submit videos of our choirs performing, and then they'll rank us based on what they see in the videos. And then aside from that, it's really just we don't get to see anyone. It's really isolated, and we have to stay within our own schools just to rehearse and practice, and that's about it.
The premiere is the start to the competition season for all 3 show choirs. West in the Groove, Uptown Girls, and Swing Cats have put in hours of rehearsal time before and after school, as well as during the weekends. This year, they will not travel to perform in competitions, but rather be a part of a virtual festival.
It's different because we don't get to have an audience very much. We had the other groups perform for us and then also cheer us on. So we did our premiere virtually, and then we have a virtual clinician type thing, so we'll video our performance and then send it out to clinicians and get feedback for that. And then we'll have a show share with Millard South and Millard North, and then also that show choir show where we can have our parents come watch.
like this year we have like a dream show, and it's basically just about like all the dreams that we were hoping to accomplish in like a regular year, just because COVID has like harshed on everything that we're able to do. And so we sing a lot about just, dreaming about a better future.
Even though this year looks very different, each group still incorporated themes into their shows. Scat sings about falling in love, while Uptown Girls are writing their own fairy tales, and Wig is all about dreams.
Our theme this year is centered around love, so all of our songs have like a love aspect to them, and how one can find love and how one can be happy from it.
My ground is shaking, I don't wanna let go crazy, dance on the ceiling, my world is waiting.
The show choir department has put in a lot of work this year despite the challenges they have faced by the pandemic. We wish all three groups the best of luck in the rest of their season. This has been Maddie Christensen for the MWHS Wildcat News.
The library recently began a book challenge for all students. Up until spring break, students will be entered into a raffle to win a Grogu Reads poster or a Barnes & Noble gift card for each book they read.
Anyone interested in the contest can visit the library or check the daily announcements for more information.
And our final story this week comes from the book club, which wrapped up its book drive on January 27th last week. And behind the event, junior Kylie Berry, who decided to create a little library in South Omaha for a Girl Scout project. Any books students dropped off in a collection of boxes in the library will be donated to her not yet built library, which will finish construction in April. Anna Blumenthal and I have more details.
It all came from Kylie as one of the things that she wanted to do actually last year for book club, and then unfortunately we were getting in the process of planning it, and then here comes the pandemic, and that kind of ended that at that time.
If you've stepped into the library, you may have noticed a pile of grocery bags dropped in boxes. In them, a wide array of children's books. The book club collected elementary to middle school level books for its book drive up until Wednesday, January 27th, and behind all of it, junior Kylie Berry, who saw a need for more literature around Omaha.
I am doing a Girl Scout Gold Award, and I noticed that not everybody in Omaha, say, has access to the books like we have at Millard West. So my plan was to take that to the city and see what we could do about it.
Berry, well into her 12th year of Scouts, decided to construct a book stand at Brown Park in South Omaha.
So I contacted the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board and met with Dennis Byers, and he suggested that I could build a little library in a certain area in South Omaha, in Brown Park. So these books are going to be used in the library.
Book stands like these account for more than 90,000 public book exchanges each year.
I don't necessarily have a goal. I was just hoping that people would be interested and be willing to donate, so I'm kind of glad of how it's turning out so far.
Berry hopes every child is able to have a physical connection with a book like she has had throughout her life. The books collected for the drive will be donated to Berry's future little library, hopefully providing more children in South Omaha with books they can pick up and read at any time.
I think books are important, especially the experience and connection you can create from having books, and just how they connect people and create nice opportunities for people who read them together.
Although the book stand will not be finished until April of this year, Berry is still stocking up on as many books as she can, so when it's finished there will be enough books for local residents to enjoy. With the MWHS Wildcat News, this has been Anna Blumenthal and Edison Geiler.
That's all for this week. Make sure to visit our website, follow our social media, and check out our previous broadcasts. With the MWHS Wildcat News, this has been Jenna Reynolds
and Edison Geiler. We'll see you next week.